Hello and welcome once again to this channel. This video begins a short series of videos presenting to you a taste of Thomas Merton's writings. They'll be on different topics, and I'm going to begin with just the bare bones of his life, and just any search engine will take you to a lot of information about Thomas Merton. I'll just say he was born in 1915, and he was born of both of his parents were artists, and he became a Trappist monk, a writer, theologian, mystic, poet, social activist, and a scholar of comparative religions. He was a monk at the Trappist Abbey of Our Lady of Gethsemane in Bradstown, Kentucky, living there from 1941 to his death in 1968. I may give you some more details about various things in his life as we go along. He was the author of more than 50 books in a period of 27 years, plus lots of articles and essays and book reviews. He was widely read for his best-selling autobiography, The Seventh Story Mountain. The quotes that I'll be taking on this journey we're taking from Merton are all found in Thomas Merton, A Book of Hours, which is a compilation of famous and beloved quotes of his. I will, in addition to putting the page numbers from this book, in case you have this book and would like to read it for yourself, in the description box, I will also put the original text that each reading was found in. So, as promised, today we're going to see what Merton had to say about politics. And this is on page 123 of the Book of Hours, Merton's Book of Hours. And as I share with you what he said about politics, remember, this is almost 100 years ago now, and perhaps you could compare it with what you believe about politics today. It seems to me, he said, the basic problem is not political, it is apolitical and human. One of the most important things to do is to keep cutting deliberately through political lines and barriers, and emphasizing the fact that these are largely fabrications and that there is another dimension, a genuine reality, totally opposed to the fictions of politics, the human dimension, which politics pretend to arrogate entirely to themselves. This is the necessary first step along a long way toward the perhaps impossible task of purifying, humanizing, and somehow illuminating politics themselves. Is this possible? At least we must try to hope in that. Otherwise, all is over. but politics as they now stand are hopeless. Hence, the desirability of a manifestly non-political witness, non-aligned, non-labeled, fighting for the reality of man and his rights and the needs in the nuclear world in some measure against all the alignments. So, almost 100 years ago, Merton is saying the politics of his day is impossible, so divided, so untrustworthy, the fabrications of politics, that it's almost hopeless. He is hoping that by people, instead of aligning with one party or another, one faction or another, will come together over the reality of human needs and our commonality as a human race, instead of the divisions and factions as he found them. At that time, this was a time when civil rights for Americans was a huge issue, and at a time when the Vietnam War was happening, and he was a social activist against war of all kinds, a pacifist at heart, although he does say he understands that sometimes people need to protect themselves, and there are other issues. It's not a simple issue, but at heart he would love to see all war end. And we're reading this now in a time of extreme division in our country and in the politics of the world, and in a time where we have ongoing wars in Ukraine, in the Middle East, and in other places. So I'm thinking if Merton were here today, he would say that we haven't made much progress in our political situation in the last 100 years. I don't know if he'd say we're hopeless or if we still have some hope left, but he would definitely, I believe, think that we are no more focused on the needs of humanity than they were in the 1950s and 60s when all of this was happening. I would love to hear your opinions about this, and not so much whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, a pro the current administration or against, but your thoughts about Thomas's take on politics and his call that we become non-aligned, non-political, but open to reality. That was his spiritual stance. His spiritual practice led him to be active in social reform. It does not lead everyone to become an activist in social reform, but it did Merton. And so I would love to have your thoughts on this topic. And I hope you will consider what Merton's wisdom said to us this quite a while ago now, but as an American and one viewing the political situation of his time. So tomorrow, a totally different topic. We'll look again at Thomas Merton. Thanks for being here.